Hari Om. Welcome back to our continuing study. We understood that the third Purushartha Dharma, otherwise called Punyam or Deva Anugraha, is called Atindriya Vishaya or Apaurusheya Vishaya. Apaurusheyam is that which is beyond human instruments of knowledge. Paurusheyam means human being or that which is concerning a human being. Apaurusheyam means that which is beyond, not in the realm or domain of a human being. Apaurusheyam is that which is beyond human instruments of knowledge. Wherever the Vedas are valued, so will the third Purushartha Dharma be. And so will the fourth Purushartha Moksha be. Moksha, otherwise known as Brahman, Atma, independent consciousness, Chaitanyam. This Purushartha too is Atindriyam, Apaurusheyam, that which is beyond the human instruments of knowledge. This must be thoroughly impressed in our minds. To understand Dharma and Moksha, we will necessarily have to study our Vedas. Dharma as revealed in the Veda Purva Bhaga and Moksha as revealed in the Uttara Bhaga or Anta Bhaga. Consciousness, which is the subject matter of Vedanta, can never be studied by using perception. Consciousness cannot be studied by logic. Na tarkena matirapaneya. Consciousness cannot be studied by mathematics, using mathematics. Consciousness cannot be studied through experimentation. We can learn about or experience consciousness through matter. We do experience consciousness through matter, but matter free consciousness, independent consciousness, can never be understood without Shastra Pramana. Without Shastra Pramanam, the farthest we can progress is arriving at consciousness as a phenomenon of the brain or a phenomenon of some organ or the other. Without Shastra Pramanam, the farthest we can progress is arriving at consciousness as a phenomenon of the brain or a phenomenon of some organ or the other. See, what we need to understand here, very important over here, is the pramanatvam. The, the, uh, the fact that a pramanam is a valid source of knowledge. That too, a primary source of knowledge, pramanam, which in Sanskrit is called upajivya pramanam, primary source of knowledge. Has validity built into it This we must be able to appreciate. A primary source of knowledge has validity built into it. No other pramanam can overpower what a pramanam reveals in its own domain, nor can it be countered. When a pramanam like our eyes that are used to reveal the world of form and color reveals a certain color, let's say orange, or let's say navy blue, or for that matter, black, the color black, the eyes being pramanams in the domain of form and color have validity built into them. If they reveal orange color, it is to be taken as orange color, period. They revelation through the eyes can neither be proved nor disproved by any other source of knowledge. I cannot use the ears to prove or disprove what the eyes have revealed to me. Because the ears are not pramanam in the domain of form and color. The ears are pramanam in the domain of sound alone. If I need to clearly understand orange, if I'm not able to see the color clearly, I will have to clean. I have to rub my eyes, or probably if I'm using a pair of spectacles, I need to rub those spectacles, free the instruments that I use of any impurities or malam, and use these instruments to once again get clarity about the color that was revealed. Just because I don't get to see color properly due to some defect in either the instrument that I use or in my eyes themselves, I cannot say I will use the ears to prove orange color. No way. They don't have access. Ears don't have access to color. Likewise, the eyes do not have access to sound, etc. The eyes and ears do not have access to smell, which only the nose can, the Granendriyam can. This should be the approach when we study the Vedas and receive the Guru's teachings, which are based on the Vedas. The Vedas are pramanam in their own domain. They are like the sixth sense organ. What the Veda reveals, whether in the Purva Bhaga or the Uttara Bhaga, can be proved only by the Vedas. They are valid in their state. Their statements are valid statements. The Vedic statements are valid statements because validity or proof is built into the statements already. They cannot be proved. They need not be proved. They cannot be proved. They can never be disproved by other sources of knowledge because they just do not have access to the Vedic realm. For the Vedic realm to be accessible, we need a different quality that needs to be that needs to be cultivated in our antakaranam. And what is that quality? We have studied this in Tattva Bodha. That quality is Shraddha. Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha Shraddha. Shraddha is the knowledge that validity is built into a primary source of knowledge. Upajivya pramanasya swatah pramanya jnanam shraddha. A beautiful definition given out by Swamiji during one of his Guru Purnima talks long back. Upajivya pramanasya swatah pramanya jnanam shraddha. Shraddha is that knowledge, is the understanding that a primary source of knowledge, like the Vedas, like the eyes, like the ears, like the nose, have validity built into them. So, this is the quality that we need to have when that is the key that will open the Vedic realm. So, without Shastra Pramanam, the farthest we can progress is arriving at consciousness as a phenomenon of the brain or a phenomenon of some organ or other. Just a phenomenon. You may call it a neurological phenomenon or electrical phenomenon or some phenomenon or the other. But knowledge of consciousness, independent of the brain, can be gathered only with the help of our Shastras. Nowhere else is consciousness talked about, or nowhere else can it be talked about the way our Shastras reveal it, the way our Shastras teach us. Gurus and Shastras teach us about the 5 features of consciousness, for example, one of Swami Paramarthananda's favorite topics. 5 features of consciousness. So, the knowledge of consciousness independent of the brain can be gathered only with the help of our Shastras. Therefore, the 4th Purushartha, moksha, what is it? It is nothing but consciousness or Brahman or Atma. Brahman and Atma being synonymous. What is the meaning? What does it mean when I say I need to know consciousness or Brahman or Atma? What is the means of knowing consciousness or Brahman or Atma? The Vedas are the only means. And which part of the Veda should we access? Swamiji says, not the beginning portion, not the first part of the Vedas. The first portion, as we have observed and learnt earlier, is to know about the 3rd Purushartha, meaning Dharma Purushartha. Whereas the last portion, the final portion, is to help us know the fourth Purushartha. Thus, the third Purushartha, Dharma, is known through the Veda Purva Bhaga. And the fourth Purushartha, Brahmatma, Brahman, Atma, consciousness, is known through the Veda Antabhaga, the final portion of the Vedas, namely the Upanishads. Upanishads are the pramanams to be used to understand and claim Brahman as our true natures. Another key point to be understood over here is depending upon the domain that we choose to study, we must use an appropriate pramanam, an appropriate instrument of knowledge. If we are to study the stars, we need to use telescopes. If we need to study microorganisms, then we would need to use microscopes. So the domain of study will determine the kind of instrument that needs to be used or has to be used to understand the domain under study, the subject matter to be studied. The fourth Purushartha, Brahman, is known through the Veda Antabhaga. Veda Purvena Dharma Purusharthena and Veda Antena Brahma Purushartha. Evam तृतीय चतुर्थ पुरुषार्थौ अपौरुषेयमत्वात् वेद प्रमाणेन एव ज्ञातुं शक्यते. Beautifully stated in Sanskrit. वेद पूर्वेन धर्म पुरुषार्थेन वेद अंतेन ब्रह्म पुरुषार्थः एवं तृतीय चतुर्थ पुरुषार्थौ अपौरुषेय प्रमाणत्वात् वेद प्रमाणेन ज्ञातुं शक्यते. What does this mean? The last two, the third and fourth purusharthas, can be known only through Veda Pramana. Can be known only through Veda Pramana. Suppose there is an author who does not belong to India, a foreigner, let us say, and writes about dharma and moksha. He may not have studied the Veda directly, but must have studied or read our scriptures indirectly, and therefore is able to write about them. Gautama Buddha talks about moksha, although he negates the Veda. He doesn't accept the Veda. A person who does not accept the Veda is a Nastika. A person or a culture that completely relies on the teachings of the Vedas and conducts its activities based on Vedic injunctions is called an Astika culture. Although he negates the Veda, Gautama Buddha, there is no denying the fact that his knowledge about moksha was gained from the Veda. Buddha was originally a Hindu. He was not a Buddhist. His Purvashrama name was Siddhartha. He was born in the Vedic culture. It is through Hinduism that Buddhism has spread all over the world. Authors like Wayne Dyer, etc., write about dharma and moksha. They do not know the Veda directly, but their writings are proof enough that they are based on the Vedas. Certain portions of the Quran and the Bible too reveal the teachings of our Vedas. For example, there are statements in the Bible we come across like, be still and know that I am God. Or another statement, the peace that passeth all understanding. I am that I am, etc. Certain portions of the Quran and the Bible do reveal the teachings of the Vedas. Thus, only when a person is born in the Vedic culture can he know about the Chaturvidha Purushartha. Therefore, Shankaracharya says, all this background information needs to be known to understand what Shankaracharya says in this verse. Therefore, Shankaracharya says, Shruti Paradarshanam. Shruti Paradarshanam. Shruti Paradarshanam is a thorough knowledge of the Vedas. Shruti Paradarshanam means to have a thorough knowledge of the Vedas, a comprehensive knowledge of the Vedas. Param means up to the end. Param means up to the end. Up to the end means a total knowledge of the Vedas. Why do we say total knowledge of the Vedas? We will explore the answer to this question in the upcoming capsules and take it forward from there. Hari Om. Om Durjana Sajjano Bhuyad Sajjana Shanti Mapnuyad Shanto Muccheta Bandhebhyah Muktaschanyan Vimochayet Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति 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 हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ